Welcome to my review of 2020's The Witches, now streaming on HBO Max and coming to the UK this Monday on VOD, October 26th. This version is directed by Robert Zemeckis and it stars Anne Hathaway. Now, before we talk about it, I have not seen the original. I have never read the Roald Dahl book. I will not talk about how it holds up as a remake. I will not talk about how faithful it is to the book. I will talk about this as a movie that really sucks. So let's talk about it. We follow a boy and his grandmother who encounter some deceptively glamorous but thoroughly diabolical witches. As she whisks him away to a resort, regrettably, the grand coven of witches arrives at the exactly same time, so the boy has to keep himself safe. Now, as mentioned in the opening, I cannot talk about how this holds up as a remake or as an adaptation of the book. All I can tell you is that Anne Hathaway is chewing the scenery as much as she can, and she has a big CGI mouth in this film with big shark-like teeth. She is relishing every single moment that she is on screen, every look that she gives, every movement that she does, every single line of dialogue that is given to her. She is treasuring it. There's this big scene in this big room where all the witches are gathered and they're meeting, talking about their plan, what they want to do, and Anne Hathaway keeps this scene not entertaining, but she keeps it just from being boring. Now, in all honesty, the production and costume design also look really great. This hotel is lavish, it's grandiose. When the kids are turned into mice eventually and they start to move around the hotel, it can feel like a big maze, and it feels like they actually were on set for a lot of these inside the hotel sequences, so I have to congratulate him on that. The costumes as well just look really great. Apart from that, nothing in this film really works. It wasn't until the end credits came on that I realized that Guillermo del Toro wrote this film, but also Robert Zemeckis wrote this film, and then Barris also wrote this film, or Kenya Barris, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. He's a creator of Blackish and Grownish and other shows like that I've never seen, so I don't know much of his work. But I don't know, I feel like Guillermo gave the first draft and then his script just got butchered. You don't necessarily like anyone in this film. You, by default, I guess, don't want to see a kid get eaten or killed by witches who look like, I don't know, the Predator had sex with someone and they had a baby and that's where witches started. God, that feels wrong for a kid's movie. But the characters are extremely superficial. Their decisions and the way the story moves forward feels so plotting. There are so many mechanisms to this plot. Nothing feels fluent or organic. It just feels, okay, the script says for you to say this and to do this, so they do this and say that. You also don't really get time to breathe on anything. This film is just all over the place in terms of pacing. That scene that I talked about when it comes to Anne Hathaway and the whole order of the witches in the big room, yes, you are entertained enough from being born because of Anne Hathaway's work, but nothing about that justifies that scene should last as long as it does. And if you guys have followed me for a while, you know I don't bash on movies for this particular issue, but in this case, it's really bad. The visual effects in this film are atrocious. Now granted, I saw this film with a VFX artist. Now granted, that VFX artist might know someone who worked in this movie. Now granted, that didn't help anything, but on my own, these visual effects do not hold up whatsoever. I wish they had gone for another round of polishing it up a little bit, or they had just gone practical. I have never seen the original Witches, as I mentioned, But my god, I know this image. I recognize this. This is entrenched in my mind because of how insanely good and scary it looks. Granted that I've seen it before as I was a kid. If I saw it for the first time now, it wouldn't be scary, but it's still impressive that they made someone look like that with practical effects in 1990. This film doesn't have any of that, and it all amounts to it not having an identity. I have never seen any of the other versions of this or read any of the other versions of this, but this doesn't scream at me witches. This is a side adventure that is extremely silly for what it's trying to do, and then at the end it gets kind of super preachy and tries to be deep when it really isn't, with an incredibly weird last shot that... Why? Why was that the last shot? Even though they have a post-credit sequence, a mid-credit sequence, I should say, just it doesn't feel right whatsoever. Nothing in this film gelled for me. On a superficial level, I adored every second that Anne Hathaway was on screen. You can feel her energy. You can tell she loved every minute she was on screen too. And it looks pretty at points. I guess that's it. But the film is so generic, so inconsequential, so silly, and so unremarkable. I'm really glad I shot a review right now as I finished watching, because tomorrow I might not remember anything about it. I'm giving The Witches a C-. Now, have you seen The Witches, my beautiful geekies? Let me know in the comments below. Let me know if I should watch the original Witches in the comments, because I've never seen it, and it must be better than this, right? Thank you so much for watching. You are the best. Stay tuned for many more reviews to come, and check out my review of Unhinged that I finally saw it, and stay tuned for the debut of my new podcast, Origin Story, coming out at 9 a.m. PST this Sunday, October 25th. Thank you so much once again. So until the next video, stay beautiful, stay geeky, and please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe, because it really helps me and my channel out. But most importantly, above everything else, forever and always, love each other and love the movies.